Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Here I have come up with a very generic topic which is known as the sweat. In this topic, I am going to cover few important points. This include introduction, mechanism, glands that produce sweat, sweating benefits, what is excessive sweating, and what all are the difference between normal sweating as well as hyperhidrosis. So, sweating. It is one of the most annoying function that we ever want to occur in our body, isn't it? जब भी गर्मियाँ आती हैं तो सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन यही होता है कि ये गर्मी क्यों? अब इसमें पसीना होगा and like we have to purchase antiperspirant, antideodorant, etc. ठीक है? But how many of us are well aware with the fact that sweating is the major essential function that is important to control the body's temperature of the human being? Now, let me explain all about the sweating. According to NIH, that National Institute of Health, sweating is basically considered to be a salty liquid which is released from the body's sweat glands, and human is known to have 2 to 4 millions of the glands in their body, and with the help of the sweating, bodies generally excrete the toxin as well as the waste products. So the release of the sweating is not basically due to the external factors, that is temperature doesn't play an important role in the form of sweating. It's all the internal factor that plays a massive role. Now let me explain the mechanism of the sweating. In this process, the role of the hypothalamus is massive. With the rise in the temperature, the heat receptor signal temperature also rises. As the temperature rises, the hypothalamus then reacts and adapts to the signal. And what is the hypothalamus? Hypothalamus is the central part of the brain which gets the signal that the body's temperature is increasing. As it gets the signal, it then activates the sweat glands. And finally, the body releases the sweat, causing the body to cool down. This is the entire function of the sweating. I mean, like when this is environmental stimuli. Environmental stimuli can be anything. It can be either physical activity, it can be either environmental changes, anything. As the temperature rises, I mean, like as the environmental temperature rises, it gives signal to the brain, that is cerebral cortex. With the cerebral cortex, hypothalamus gets the signal that the temperature is generally rising. Okay. Hypothalamus results in the activation of the sweat glands, which results in the sweating. Now, classification of the sweat glands. What are what are the types of the glands that plays important role in the sweating? Our body is made up of two types of the sweat glands. This is eccrine gland as well as the apocrine gland. The role of the eccrine gland is to regulate the body temperature. As the body temperature rises, the nervous system, it stimulates the eccrine gland. Stimulates in the sense it activates the eccrine gland, allowing it to release the sweat and cooling down the temperature. When the sweat generally excreted from the eccrine gland, what all things is composed of? The sweat in this area is composed of excess amount of the salt as well as the electrolytes. Electrolytes can include like sodium, ammonia, cholesterol, etc. Second gland is the apocrine gland. Apocrine gland is generally known to found in the underarms, and it generally produces bacteria which plays a major role in causing the odor like smell. However, apocrine itself doesn't produce any kind of smell or odor, but when it mixes up with the bacteria, it results in the causing of the foul smelling odor. Sometimes certain spicy food, you can say that it helps in activation of the sweat glands. Spicy food, you can say either it can be chilies or any spices. They generally contains capsaicin, which gives signals to the brain thinking that your body temperature is rising. Because whenever you eat certain spicy food, आपने जब ये notice किया होगा, जब भी आप कुछ तीखा खाते हो, you feel like heat. आपको गर्मी गर्मी feel होती है. This is what due to capsaicin. Capsaicin gives signal to the brain that the body temperature is rising, and finally it results in the production of the sweat. Sometimes consumption of large amount of the alcohol also results in the sweat production, sweat secretion. Alcohol consumption results in the speeding up the heart rate as well as the dilation of the blood vessels. This two process generally happens when you are doing certain kind of physical activity or any intense exercise. In this during this time, when the heart rate increases, the body gets the signal that the glands need to be secrete the sweat, and finally the body starts releasing the sweat and allows the body temperature to cool down. Now here you can see these are the major glands that plays a role in the production of the sweat. This is apocrine gland, which I said that is massively uh, available in the underarms and is the reason which you get foul odor smell, and generally when it mixes with the bacteria, it causes the smell. And this is the acrine gland, which is generally spread all over the body. Now coming to the benefits of the sweating. Hardly most of you know that the sweating has immense benefits. Now let me explain few of it. The first is the endorphin production. Now first, before explaining about the endorphin production, let me tell you that what is endorphin. Endorphin is a kind of the hormone which allows you to feel from inside. You feel good from the inside. For example, when an individual is performing an intense exercise or just having a brisk walk, okay, so you see the person starts sweating. As soon as the sweat is released, it results in the production of the endorphin, which makes the individual to feel good from the inside. Next is the detoxification. This is the important role of the sweating. With this process, sweat excrete the salt as well as electrolyte. Electrolytes include sodium, ammonium, alcohol as well as the cholesterol. That means salt as well electrolytes are getting released from your body. This directly means that your body is completely getting detoxified. Third point is the lowers down the risk of the kidney stone. As sweating happens, it releases the excess amount of the salt, whereas the calcium is getting retained in the bones. It results in the less accumulation of the salt as well as the calcium in the kidneys and helps in the lowering down the risk of the kidney stone. Next comes to the benefit is the prevents illness. Now let me explain you how does it prevents illness. Sweat is known to have the antimicrobial peptide, which is effective towards fighting against virus, fungi, etc. Most people, you have seen that their complaints come that they sweat excessively. So this phenomena is also known as hyperhidrosis. It is actually the abnormal phenomena. Hyperhidrosis is excessive sweating, which means that a person generally sweat more than the body actually required to. This process can be noticed when a person is ideally sitting calmly or sitting calmly, but still he or she is sweating badly. This process is known as hyperhidrosis. It can even happen in the cool weather or when the person is under the emotional stress. So here I have listed down certain differences between the normal sweating as well as hyperhidrosis. The points which you notice over here, the first towards my left hand side is categorized about the normal sweating and my right hand side is about the hyperhidrosis, that is excessive sweating. Normal sweating can occur even in normal hot temperature, can happen due to physical exercise, emotional stress, with the consumption of either hot or spicy food, or sometimes due to the fever. But hyperhidrosis generally occur when the person is either obese, there is a hormonal changes, illness caused due to fever like infection or malaria, either the person is diabetic or certain kind of medication. When I say that there are various factors which results in the cause causing of the hyperhidrosis. Few factors that I'm mentioning over here are, the first one is the Fresh syndrome. This is a syndrome when the sweating occurs only on the one side of the face when certain type of food are being consumed. It generally occur if there is any kind of past surgery or injury in near the saliva producing gland. Second factor is medication related to diabetes or thyroid. Third factor is high blood pressure medicine or antidepressant. And the fourth one is can be due to infection or certain heart or disease. So this was the end of my video, and with this I want to wind up my section where I have briefed you all about the sweat and its mechanism. Now hopefully you have understood why sweat is important for our body. In the next video I'll come up with some of the interesting topic. Thank you.